You'll hear about challenges, temptations, and you'll hear about how they got through it and how they got help. Along the way, you'll hear about the good stuff too. Welcome to the Business Builder Way podcast, where we help business builders grow leadership skills and wisdom and stay grounded through business builder hero stories. So let's get after it. Welcome to episode 1, season 1 of the Business Builder Way podcast. I'm Wayne Herring. I'm a life and business coach. In Pennsylvania, I'm coming to you from our farm and in the building where I get to do coaching with individual entrepreneurs and leadership teams. The Business Builder Way podcast is being created because I want to help business builders to grow their leadership skills, grow their wisdom, and stay grounded through hero stories of other business builders like you. I've got my hat on here, and this camp logo, it symbolizes the gathering that we do as business owners, which I call business builders. We work to not do this alone. We work to do it together. And in some cases, that means the live meetings where I gather up our clients, those that are in our groups here at the farm or in other locations that have some connection with the outdoors. And it means literally sitting around a campfire. And sometimes gathering together and not going it alone means connecting with this podcast, listening in your truck or your car, on the way to work, on the way to a job, on the way to out of town travel, for whatever reason you might do that. Listening to other people's stories in today's world is a way to be together and not to go it alone. In the logo, we've got the orange, which represents leadership, the fire of leadership. As a business builder, you need to be a great leader. Initially, you need to be a grinder and you need to be cranking it out and you need to be doing all the work. And then eventually you bring other people into your world and you start needing to lead them and you need to be a leader. The silver is for wisdom, and that's something we get from the people in the group. We get from them ideas about what they've done. And you will get this as we interview other business builders on this podcast. You'll hear some of the what to do. You'll hear some of the what not to do. You'll also hear the accumulated wisdom of how people got out of tough spots. We call them hero stories. I call them hero stories because I'm a fan of The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. If you've read that book, or if you've ever even just heard mention of the hero's journey, if you Google hero's journey, you're going to see the clockwise diagram. There's a variety of them that show up on the internet with various stages, but it's the idea that all good stories like the Homer's Odyssey, modern day stories like Star Wars, stories like Forrest Gump, the stories that really resonate with us, many stories in the Bible, are these tell us and help us identify with a hero in the story, a hero who is called to adventure, a hero who leaves home in some way, shape, or form, or a business builder who starts a business builder who goes from being a contractor to being the owner and creator of a home remodeling business or plumbing business or HVAC or whatever it is that you might do. Or it's the person who was very good at digital marketing who starts a digital marketing agency. Or it's like Tony in our community, a dog trainer, somebody who learns about dogs, but then who goes on the adventure of building a business around dog training. And so the hero leaves home, is called to adventure, and then what we'll do is we share these stories of business builders is you'll get to hear about who helped in those initial stages of the journey. How did they resist going on the journey? And how did they finally cross into full-on business ownership and building it and really going for it? And when was the point at which they realized, like, I think I got something here? Then you'll get to hear about trials and tribulations. Building a business is hard. working through employee issues, recruiting employees, dealing with changes in market conditions, government regulation. It can be really challenging. Cash flow, or where to get money if you have an idea, where to borrow money at favorable terms so that you can build the next stage, deciding if it's worth the risk. Do you build the extra capacity first, or do you wait until you have the demand, then build the capacity? Which way do you go? These are all challenges that come up on the business builder journey. And sometimes, of course, you're faced with even bigger challenges. Sometimes you're faced with personal life challenges that get in the way of business, or you're faced with, because of the things you're doing in the business, it affects your personal life. You'll hear about those aspects of the journey in the stories that we tell as I interview other business builders like you. You'll hear about challenges, temptations, and you'll hear about how they got through it and how they got help. Along the way, you'll hear about the good stuff too, breakthroughs, getting to next levels, finding hobbies and passions outside of work that then make the work and the business feel even better. So you will hear about the good stuff too. One of the things that members of our group always want is they want encouragement to stay on the path and not quit, because a lot of businesses fail. And of course, that's because quite a few times it just gets harder than what the business owner is willing to push through. Now, of course, sometimes failures happen because of things beyond your control. And the better part of valor is to, not let it get worse. But a lot of times, the encouragement you might get by listening to this podcast, by listening to other stories, might be what you need on a dark day to keep going. As people tell the stories of their own hero's journey, and as you identify with their stories and as you pick up nuggets, you're also going to learn what to do. Some of the critical pieces to solving challenges, like if you're a great salesperson, then becoming a sales manager. You'll hear from other people how they went from being the primary doer in the business to truly being a leader. You'll hear how they made decisions to, at times, buy another business or decide that they need to determine an exit strategy for theirs, and they do an ESOP. These are the pieces that we'll pull out of the business builder stories. In short, we want to give you hope to keep you building, because we believe that the businesses that business builders build, it's like a tongue twister from when I was a kid, really matter. I grew up in family business in a sense. My dad was a serial entrepreneur. I spent time working with him at his used car dealership when I was in high school. I spent time then later in life working with a company that he started that turned out really well. That was a used car warranty company. And we were not the people that called you on the phone, by the way, all odd hours of the night. We worked through independent used car dealers. And I got to see the difference that the business builders, the car dealers made in the community. And I got to work with our team and go along on the journey as we grew and eventually sold the company to a publicly traded firm. And because of that background, I believe business builders are heroes. I think you make your communities a better place. I think you make for opportunities in your family, especially if you remember to integrate family life, business life. And we don't want you building a business that doesn't serve your family. And we don't want you building a business that doesn't serve you. You'll certainly go through seasons where you'll work an inordinate amount, right? But on the whole, we want to help you through these stories to integrate business and life, to build a great life, to be intentional, to create. You are an artist. You paint on the canvas of business with brushes and paints like capital that you convince other people to give you to fund your dream through your words, through your influence, through your determination, through the people that you gather with you along the way. This is your canvas that you paint upon. And business is a force for good, and we want to be there with you. We're excited about the people that we're interviewing. It'll be mostly stories of actual businesses that have been built so that you can track along and you can look the person up and you can follow them after the episode is over. You'll be able to go out and see how some of the things they mentioned in the podcast come to fruition. Every episode is also, we're going to work to always ask the business builder, what is an exercise they recommend that you journal about, that you record, that you write down, so that you can get clarity on a piece of business or a piece of life. So we're always going to work to have an actionable thing that you can write in your journal the following morning. I hope you join us on the Business Builder Way. We're looking forward to creating these episodes for you. I'm Wayne Herring, and welcome to the journey. Thank you for tuning into the Business Builder Way podcast. If this episode spoke to you, click that subscribe button and share it with a friend. That's how this message gets out into the world. If it is helpful for us to have a short conversation, I'd love to do that. Send me an email at wayne@businessbuildercamp.com.